We finally got what we wanted, y'all. The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon has come to an end with season 4. And I want to talk about that. You know what I mean? I want to talk about that. I want to discuss it now that San Diego Comic-Con has kind of come to a wrap, of course. And I want to kind of just talk about everything, you know, in regards to the event, everything we got, and some updates for the Daryl Dixon show, because Daryl Dixon was the only thing Walking Dead related this year that we got. Which is what I predicted. I told y'all that too. I remember a lot of people saying, oh no, Dan, we're gonna get Rick news, we're gonna get this, we're gonna get that. I said it. I was like, in reality here, all we're gonna get is Daryl Dixon, and I was right, you know what I mean? Which I hate that I was, admittedly. I think they should have updated us on other things in this franchise, but we did get something positive out of this, which is, there was a good trailer was fine, and I will say, I'm very, very happy to see that season 4 of Daryl Dixon's the last season. Now, to kind of clarify what I mean for anybody that is thinking like, oh, Dan, why are you hating on Daryl? Like, why are you hating on, you know, his character? I'm not hating on his character. I absolutely love Daryl's character, okay? Make sure you understand that. I love Daryl. Daryl's one of my favorite Walking Dead characters. But we could not have dragged his show on for 8 seasons. You know what I mean? Like the rumors were saying. And there were actually rumors that happened earlier this year saying that Daryl season 4 would be the final season. Well, they were correct, right? They were correct. So some rumors do end up being true, and that is one of them. Now, I'm not going to credit Scott Gimple for this, because I got to be honest, I think that 8-season idea was his. I think, and this is just my 2 cents here, I think Gimple wanted to do 8 seasons, and AMC was like, no, you're not. No, you're friggin' not. I think they shut them down. I think they did. Again, we'll probably never know the truth of why it stopped, but it seemed like so all of a sudden that season 4 is the last season. I feel like someone somewhere cut them off. I really do think so. Again, just my theory on it. I think they cut them off somewhere. Or they did do the smart thing and they decided to end the spinoff here because of the backlash and because of what they've heard about season 2. How people are impatient to see the reunion with Daryl and Rick, which I will definitely admit I am one of those people. I think we were gypped of that in The Ones Who Live. I think we were gypped of that at the end of the original show. And I think it's finally time for us to see the reunion with Rick and Daryl. That should have happened a long time ago. We should have had, and I've said this from the get-go, we should have had the reunion with Rick and Daryl either at the end of the original show or in The Ones Who Live, change up the timelines to make that possible, and then Daryl Dixon should have been after the reunion with Rick, right? And then you could have watched the Daryl show as its own individual thing, knowing that he is aware of Rick being alive, and they've been hanging out for a few years now, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Daryl will get home at one point, and he knows Rick is there when he gets back, you know? That's what the writers should have done, but they didn't. So now here we are with Daryl. Season 4 is the final season. Now the rumors are happening. Will Daryl have a reunion with Rick? Listen, they better have a reunion with Rick. That's all I'm saying. Because here's the thing. You cannot tell me that this is going to be it. You know what I mean? That Daryl's just going to get home, no Rick, no nothing, that's it. I would like to believe that Gimple is not that stupid. You know what I'm saying? I would like to believe that he at least has common sense to know that when Daryl goes back to Alexandria, the only logical thing here is to have him have a reunion with Rick. If Daryl gets home and nothing happens, I'm going to be seriously like, what? You know, because we know Rick is home, you know? So I really hope that in the coming months here, as they're filming season 4, that's the ultimate plan, is for Rick to be in that finale, you know, 408 to be exact, which that's an update I wanted to go in now to as well too. Apparently The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon season 3 is going to be 7 episodes. They also talked about that at the panel. I know a lot of you guys were letting me know about that. So rather than 6 episodes, Daryl season 3 is going to be 7 episodes, and that is going to take us from September 7th to October 19th. So that'll be the Daryl season 3 episode count. And apparently season 4 is going to be 8 episodes. So 15 episodes, right? 15 episodes to go for Daryl Dixon, which is perfect. I don't think you need any more than that. I know some people are saying, oh, I want Daryl to go on forever. You know, I did hear a few of those comments. I did. I heard a few people saying, they're like, oh, I'm really sad we didn't get 6, 7, 8 seasons. I'm like, guys, we could have never gotten those seasons. Like, with the way the show was going and him touring the world 24/7, you know how stale that would be for him to just keep moving place to place? We have Ride with Norman Reedus for that. You know what I mean? The Walking Dead did not need to do that. I'm seriously happy that he went to France, he got stranded in Spain, which is kind of goofy, but whatever, and now he's gonna, finally take his ass back home. That is what I wanted the entire time. If it were up to me, I would have done a France show, and that would have been it. A season or two max, and then he goes home, if that, I don't think you needed all these seasons, and I know a lot of people say, oh, well, it would have been cool to see other parts of the world. Yeah, but you have other characters you can use for that, you know what I mean? The world is your oyster, Mr. Gimple. You can do anything you want. Reunite Daryl with Rick, which looks like he may do. Reunite Daryl and Rick next season, after season 3, and then you can do whatever you want. Now, according to what I've seen, there was a final statement from Norman Reedus that I did find kind of interesting, so we're going to go over that and kind of talk about what he had to say about the end of the Daryl Dixon show. Daryl Dixon has been an incredible journey, Norman Reedus says. I thank each and every fan who has joined us on this ride. It's been a privilege to build this story for these characters, and we have so much gratitude for how it's been embraced. Your love and support has been every moment worth it. This finale isn't just an ending. It's a celebration of what we've all shared together. Keep carrying over that love forward. Daryl's journey is far from over. And that's why I'm telling people that are panicking about the fact that we only got 2 seasons left to chill the hell out, because Daryl's journey is far from over. You know what that means, right? So we're going to get these 2 seasons, hopefully the reunion, and then they're going to do something else. You know what I mean? You can feel it from a mile away. They will never really end Daryl's character until Norman says that's it. They're just ending his show. You know what I mean? I guarantee Daryl is still going to be around. Whatever content they're doing next, it's going to happen. Not to mention, Gimple has mentioned that there is another phase of the Walking Dead franchise that he is working on. That is why I'm telling you guys to be excited that Daryl is ending. Because we may get the reunion with Rick. It feels very likely at this point. Plus, Gimple literally said, whenever Daryl's, journey comes to an end, we will have, the reunion with Rick. So I'm hoping that at the end of this show, when Daryl goes home, that is what they do. But then they continue Daryl's character from there. You know what I mean? That's what I'm hopeful for. Also, do you guys recall a video that the AMC Walking Dead channel posted earlier this year that really pissed me off at the time? Now I'm actually kind of thinking to myself, man, there might actually be kind of some stuff to this, y'all remember the AMC video I did a video on a few months ago where it said Daryl talked about I'm not your brother or whatever, and he was pointing the gun, and then it put a caption, well, maybe next year. Maybe next year, final season, Daryl Dixon. Could that be a tease that Rick and Daryl are back together? You know what I mean? That could be it. That genuinely could be it. The end of the Daryl story for this show, maybe their statement of them saying maybe next year. There's definitely some possibilities here. I'm not gonna lie, and it's the first time ever I can actually say I actually feel the idea that these characters could be back together again by the time of next year, which would be insane. I just want that. That's all I've been asking for. You give me that reunion, I don't care what else you do. You want to drag the franchise out for 15 freaking 20 years? You can do that. You know what I mean? Just give me these characters on screen again. Just give me Rick and Daryl back on screen again, and I don't care what else you do. At that point, I will go along with Gimple's nonsense of however long he wants to do the franchise. Just reunite those characters, give them a nice ending together, and then if you want to do more Daryl content down the line, that's fine. You know what I mean? Just let him see Rick. This man has been looking for him since 2018, and in their timeline, it's been 10 years he's been looking for Rick. We deserve that reunion. We do, and I'm hoping that is why this is all happening, because they've heard the fans, they've heard the way people are talking about it, the constant spamming that I've seen on the AMC Walking Dead channel from the fans of people saying, where's Daryl and Rick? Where's Daryl and Rick? It's everywhere. I'm hoping that they heard us and they were like, okay, let's do it. You know what I mean? Let's do it when the Daryl show ends, which it is. It's ending. You know what I mean? So that's that. I'm not sad about Daryl ending either, and you want to know why? Not only because it means that we could get the reunion we've been asking for, also because apparently Daryl's journey is far from over. So, I mean, there right there proves the point. Daryl's journey is far from over. So, you don't have to worry about Daryl being concluded. You know what I mean? At the very least, we may be done with Carol, you know what I mean? Which honestly, that's fine. I don't really see much more for Carol to do. But Daryl, I think they're gonna use him, you know, as much as they possibly can. Daryl will be a massive focal point in the next phase of The Walking Dead. I guarantee it. It's just that his show is ending. That's all it is. So, I mean, that's genuinely where I'm at with this whole thing. You know what I mean? I think it's good to not drag out something for too long. It's why I have support for stuff like The Boys or Breaking Bad or other things like that that are choosing to end when they're at their climax. You know what I mean? Daryl, I think, has overstayed its welcome already as it is. But I think it's a good thing that they're wrapping it up with season 4. Because if they were to do 8 seasons, listen, I know those Daryl fanboys out there are saying, oh my god, I would love 8 seasons, you know? But think about this for a minute. Is that really needed? You know what I mean? Does that really need to happen? You know what I mean? No, it does not. This is a way smarter idea. You want to watch Norman Reedus tour the world? Watch Ride with Norman Reedus. It's not an actual story reason why we needed 8 seasons. And that is why I'm glad that if this was a creative decision from Gimple, all right, good job. But I don't credit this guy, though. I don't, because he's already dragged this franchise way too far. So I don't support what he's done. But I will say, I will give a round of applause to AMC if they're the ones that told Scott Gimple, yeah, wrap it up. You know what I mean? I could see that. I could see them being the ones that told him, that's it. You get season 4 and you're done, you know? And I know that's kind of brought up a lot of questions now for people, like, what does this mean for Dead City? I think it means the very similar effect. I think Dead City has 2 more seasons. I think Daryl has 2 more seasons. I think those rumors that we heard a few months back are exactly right. Because obviously the Daryl one was correct. You know what I mean? So I think the Dead City one's accurate too. I think Dead City will get 3 and 4 with Seth Hoffman. You're done. You know what I mean? That's it. Which with Dead City, like I said, I'm not as urgent with Dead City to end though. Because, okay, yeah, season 2 was not the greatest season. But I'll still admit, Dead City, you know, I don't need Negan and Maggie to see Rick right away. I'm not desperate for that reunion. I really could care less. When it happens, if it does, okay, cool. But the Daryl and Rick reunion, oh, you damn right you canceled Daryl's show. You know what I mean? You damn right season 4 is the last season. We should have had that reunion in The Ones Who Live, or the end of the original show. I mean, to be honest, if they had a brain, that's what they would have done. Resolved Daryl looking for Rick in the main show where the rest of the content was, you know? That would have been the smart thing to do, but they didn't do that. So hopefully they finally have listened to the fans. I've heard a lot of people saying, Dan, we did it, you know? You've been pushing for Daryl to end for all this time now. Dan, you did it, you know? I bet you're happy, Dan. Oh, I'm happy. I'm happy. And again, you know, some people may say, oh, Dan, you're happy. Why are you happy? You know, don't you love Daryl? Like, you know, all this stuff. Yes, I love Daryl. But we know we're going to get him forever. So, you know, like, it's like, that doesn't matter to me. I'm not sad about this at all. To me, this is them resolving a problem. That's what they're doing. They're resolving a problem and hopefully giving us the content we've been asking to see, you know? In canceling this show, there's an opportunity for them to do the right thing, you know? That's why I'm happy about it. So, for all those people saying, oh, Dan, you're just trying to get Daryl canceled because you hate him. No, I love Daryl. He's one of my favorite characters. But we needed to get to the point, you know? And I'm glad that they are doing that. I'm very passionate about this, if you couldn't tell. Rick and Daryl is my favorite duo of TV of all time. So, I feel pretty strongly about it. So, I'm hoping that this is it. I'm hoping that this is finally what we're getting, and they finally bring these characters back together. And, you know, at that point, like I said, I'm being for real on this. You give me Daryl and Rick's reunion at the end of season 4, I will not ask for any more stuff at that point. You can do whatever you want. I don't even need the Morgan one, admittedly. I would like for them to do it, but, like, it's not what I'm desperate for, because Morgan thinks Rick's alive. You know what I mean? That's what's been bothering me this whole time. Daryl thinks Rick's dead 10 years ago. You know what I mean? So we've needed this, you know? The Morgan one, fine, because he thinks Rick's alive. You know what I mean? The Daryl one, like, he doesn't even know this man's alive. We need that reunion, and I'm hoping we have finally gotten to the point, and that's why this show is ending. I'm hoping that's what this is. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know how y'all feel about this. Do you think it's a good decision to end Daryl? I definitely think it's a good idea. I think any more than 4 seasons would have driven me nuts, honestly. So I'm glad that they're doing it here. They're not dragging Daryl's character through the mud to where it's becoming ridiculous. It kind of is already on that verge, but they stopped it at a good enough time. So I'm going to enjoy the next 2 seasons of Daryl because I know it's the end. And I'm glad about that. And I'm glad that we're finally at an ending point to where we know something is ending. Even if Daryl's character gets dragged on past this show, which I'm sure he will be. At least if you give me the reunion with Rick, I don't really care what else you do. You do whatever you want. Do whatever dumb stuff you want to do, you know? Just give me that reunion, and I will walk away happy. You know what I mean? I will walk away so happy. But you need to do it. So, Gimple, you're obligated. We're all looking at you. You better do this reunion, because I don't know how much longer people can take this. So, it's up to you, man. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. I will give you credit if you do it. If you don't do it, you're the worst writer of all time. And I will rip into his writing. I will. Trust me when I say. If season 4 ends and nothing happens, or Daryl gets home and no reunions are had, oh, that will, I'm telling you what, we will be pissed as a community. I think I can agree. I think everybody's going to be pissed. So I think he knows better. I think he knows he's obligated when Daryl goes home. So let's hope next year is the year we finally give Daryl the reunion he deserves. So there you go, y'all. Let me know what y'all think. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy videos like this, guys, make sure to click subscribe. If you don't miss any of the videos, make sure to follow me on Dan's Reviews Official on Instagram, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos very soon. Enjoy the rest of the day, guys, and peace out.
Born in the dark alleys, city of concrete. Dan's reviews blowing up, never taste defeat. Walking Dead dissected every plot twist beat. World gone mad, TV junkies hit a treat. Typing up scripts, marathon through the night. His opinions hit harder than a street fight scene. Every episode, brain sharper than a knife. He's the beacon of critique, shedding TV light.